This child star just exposed her mother in the most brutal way possible. Hello you gorgeous donuts. Child stars have taken over the world in many different industries, and the biggest industry that they seem to have really flourished in is the entertainment sector. Whether this be an actor or an actress, a music artist, or even anything totally different that has fame involved with it. And I think when you're a child, you do kind of envy other child stars because it looks like a really good position to be in. It looks like a desirable thing, like being that rich and being that famous from a young age. A lot of kids would dream of that when they're a child, even as an adult. However, despite this looking good from the outside, we have seen that being a child star can be a curse rather than a gift. And as the years have progressed, we have seen these child stars come out and talk about how their parents have actually exploited them in many different ways and exploited all of the money and fame that they created from a young age. And this is especially apparent in Hollywood. Like, I can name loads off the top of my head. For instance, Drew Barrymore. She came out and said that under her mother's supervision, people would take advantage of her. She would go to parties, she would drink alcohol when she was underage. She would do a lot of things that her mother should really have been stopping her from doing. And at the age of 14, she actually legally emancipated herself from her parents, so they had nothing to do with her. Another person who had a similar relationship with their parents was Jeanette McCarthy. She became famous from being on iCarly, and she actually wrote a book saying, "I'm happy that my mom's dead," I believe it was called. So I think that kind of describes the relationship that them two had, as Jeanette would actually go through a lot of psychological and emotional trauma at the hands of her mother. Another case is Macaulay Culkin. His father really took advantage of him and his brother when they were, really succeeding as child actors. And like I said, this isn't just specific to being an actor. We've seen with Britney Spears, like how her dad had in some sort of contract so that, he got all of her earnings, which stemmed the huge Free Britney movement that eventually got her released. So what I'm trying to get at here is we're no stranger to realizing, that being a child star isn't actually that glamorous, and we are very accustomed to seeing it happen in Hollywood and within the music industry. But with the rise of social media, and especially YouTube, that child star trajectory is now starting on YouTube rather than in Hollywood. And in my opinion, this is a hell of a lot more frightening, as the barrier for entry to make your child a child star on YouTube is very low compared to trying to get your child into Hollywood. For instance, somebody like me from Newcastle would have no chance of getting their child into Hollywood. I mean, I wouldn't want to do it anyway. But if somebody did, whereas if I wanted to make my child a child star on YouTube, a couple of minutes and I can do it. And what this does is it really lowers the barrier for entry, which means a hell of a lot more people, no matter who you are, can achieve this if you really did try to. And this is exactly what happened when YouTube started. Some parents didn't mess about. Instantly, rather than putting themselves on the internet for the world to see, they would put their children on and make their child the star and kind of reap all of the benefits from them. Make them work so the parents can stay behind the scenes and just kind of gather all of the success and all the money for themselves. And one of the biggest cases of this occurring was through Jessalyn Grace. I don't know if anybody has heard of her, but she was a huge child star on YouTube. She actually gained over 1 million subscribers pretty quickly. Now, Jessalyn was actually born in 2007, and she is from America. And a lot of her content would kind of involve lifestyle or beauty hauls or kind of DIY videos. Also, like a lot of vlogs and back to school content. A lot of it was kind of centered for a child audience, obviously with the creator being a child. And Jessalyn would actually be pushed into making YouTube videos at the age of 9, which, by the way, is absolutely ridiculous. In the UK, you would still be in primary school, and I can't imagine a primary school kid, like, having a full-on career on YouTube. It's even really traumatizing if you try this in, like, secondary school, high school, never mind primary school. Now, later in this video, we're actually going to see how Jessalyn exposed her mother about all of the horrible things she was doing behind the scenes. But before we take a look at that, I do want to have a look at some of the videos she did upload back in the day. Like I said, it was very chill videos a lot of the time, like things such as making your bed, but with like gifted bed sheets.
We're gonna remove everything from my bed, and the first thing we're gonna do to it is put this sheet set on.
Like, even this, you know, as a child, you probably think, oh, my mom is, like, you know, taking an interest in me. She wants me to, like, make my bed and we're going to film it and put it on YouTube. This is dead fun. But from a parent's perspective, I just think it's really weird and it's kind of, like, manipulative. Like, oh, don't make your bed now. Make your bed on camera because we can make money out of it. I can make money out of it. This is one thing that I think people forget when they're watching child stars. They forget that it's not actually the child's idea to do this. It's someone behind the camera who's orchestrating all of this.
Here's your chance to win this petite and pretty PR box. And to enter, all the rules will be listed below. So good luck, you guys.
Bro, like, why the hell is a child doing a giveaway? Like, what are we doing? Like, child's doing giveaways. That should just not be happening. How can I trust you, child? How do I not know that you're going to pick one of your mates? You're a bloody child, for Christ's sake. I even find it kind of odd that some companies kind of, you know, filter their marketing through children. Like, we've seen it in a video that we did previously on a child star who, like, had a birthday party and companies were sponsoring the birthday party, but kind of, like, filtering their products through the birthday. I do kind of find it a weird branch of marketing. Obviously, from, like, a brand's perspective, it's, like, very good because you can probably pay these children a lot lower than you would pay for, like, a TV advert or to pay, like, another influencer or celebrity. So for your advert, you probably get a much better cost, but aren't you kind of taking advantage of these kids because you don't really understand where the money's going to? Yes, you're paying the parents the money, but you have no idea that they're actually putting that towards their child, because how's a child meant to accept the money? Where are they going to put it? Jessalyn would also kind of do a lot of videos where she would, like, I don't want to say brag because it wasn't her, but basically bragging about all of the things that she owns. I've got screenshots here of, like, some of the expensive things she would show off. Here we see she had a £1,290 Gucci backpack, and I've seen a lot of people in the comments say that when they watched these videos as kids, they were, like, severely jealous of her, not knowing that, you know, these bags weren't actually hers, as we're going to see later in this video. But there's Gucci shoes, which, as you can see, are just, like, far too big for a child, unless, like, you know, no offense, she has, like, proper massive feet, like a MacBook Air, you know, bearing in mind this is again like a 9-year-old child, an iPhone 8 Plus, an iPad Pro, like, is there anything, and even an Apple Pencil, man. So very clearly you can see that, you know, she was making a hell of a lot of money off this, or her parents were, to even be able to afford these things, whether they were Jessalyn's or the parents. And it's also important to note with, like, family vlogging channels and, you know, child channels, I guess, back in the day they would have been on something called Google preferred ads, which basically means, like, if I get 1,000 views and, you know, this child gets 1,000 views on their YouTube channel, they would be paid, like, 4 times the amount, because, like, any advertiser would go on their videos, whereas some advertisers would decline to be on my videos just because of the nature of the content. So what I'm trying to get at here is they would have made thousands, if not millions, which obviously, if the parents are responsible, can, you know, set this child up for life. Like, this child is basically working from the age of 9, filming content every day and creating a lot of money for the family. Yes, you can pay your bills with it if that's what you choose to do, but the first and foremost thing should be sorting out Jessalyn for when she's older. And as you're going to see, this was not the case. As 2 months ago, Jessalyn would actually come back on YouTube and post a video titled "Why I Ran Away at 18." Now, this video basically exposed everything that was going on behind the scenes. It was very respectful, but she was talking about her mother and how her mother had basically, you know, orchestrated everything and taken advantage of her, basically exploited her as a child, made her work, made her be the breadwinner in the family from 9 years old. And Jessalyn was basically talking about how this affected her, like, opening up and basically showing people who would have once envied her how, you know, she actually felt to be in that position and how it wasn't as good as what it seemed. Now, this video isn't actually available to watch on YouTube, and we're going to find out later in this video, and it's probably not for the reason that you think. Genuinely terrifying. But before we actually get onto that video that was posted 4 days ago, Jessalyn actually posted to her TikTok detailing that after this video went live, she's going to start over without her mother exploiting her.
Being a YouTuber was a dream of mine that became my reality. When I was 9 years old, I started my channel and it opened up a lot of opportunities for me. I got to be a model, I got to have my own clothing line, I was a part of a girl group signed under Columbia Records, I was a part of so many different campaigns and got to work with so many different companies. However, that is not what this video is about. I am here to officially announce that I am no longer Jessalyn Grace. The short story, or I guess the story I can legally say here on the internet, is that I no longer have access to any of my accounts. Starting off, I was a minor. I wasn't able to have ownership of those accounts, and it was supposed to transfer over to me when I turned 18. That didn't happen, and due to unfortunate circumstances, I no longer have access to anything. But yeah, I basically have to start over now.
Now, already alarm bells are kind of going off, because when you're 18, that's your that's yours now. You know, you're legally allowed to own a business. This should transfer over to you. You have worked on this for what, 11 years at this point? You are the only person on camera. This is yours. This is nobody else's. Yes, people have helped. People have helped get you the opportunities that you've got, but this is your name on the channel. And if you are the mother who is currently in ownership of the channel, you should hand this over to your daughter, as you should know this is not about you.
Able to tell the full story, but for now that's pretty much the explanation that I can give. Despite being so successful at a young age, I kind of fell off when I started high school. And now that I graduated high school, not only did I fall off, but I'm also going to be a broke, struggling college student. Yes! As of right now, I am currently living in my friend's backyard. That's a really weird way to put it. And I will be attending UC Berkeley in the fall, studying film and media studies, so post-grad I will still be broke. I was lucky enough to receive enough financial aid and scholarships to get me through this first year. I do have to figure out a way to pay for the next 3 years, including the insane Bay Area housing cost, so that's gonna be really fun.
Now, I know that's the life of, you know, every person who goes to, you know, university in America. You know, you have to cover the costs of everything. But not everybody was a child star. Not everybody has worked since the age of 9 years old, posting content every single day. The fact that she doesn't have an entire fund that can cover her entire, you know, college years is very alarming, because where has this money gone? You know, all of these thousands of pounds, if not millions of pounds, that she's been making for her family, where has it gone to? Because clearly it has not gone to Jessa. Bearing in mind she can't access any of her YouTube channels at this point either to actually figure out how much money was earned. I can't imagine what it would feel like to be in this position, because it's almost like when you're no longer useful to your mother, then you're kind of just thrown to the side. And that is exactly what Jessa talks about in the YouTube video that she has recently released that has went mega viral. Jessa actually uploaded this video to her original YouTube channel, Jessalyn Grace, and it's called My Experience as a Child YouTuber.
This is how my mom exploited me for money as a child and simultaneously subjected me to years of verbal, financial, and of course, physical abuse. Okay, so I wasn't going to talk about this again, but due to my unfortunate luck and my lack of cybersecurity, my own mother decided to log into this account using my brother's iPad, which used to be mine, which is why the account was on there, and decided to wipe every single video that I had on this channel, including the ones that weren't related to this topic or her. So I'm talking about this yet again and filling you guys in on everything without the sugar-coated, what I thought was respectful language that I used in the last video.
Like, that is crazy and really is suspicious as well, kind of guilty. Like, why as the mother would you delete the video that your daughter made about talking about you, where it was respectful, just talking about stuff from her perspective and how she felt like she was exploited? But not only that video, every other video, so people can't take a look back at those videos and kind of make up their own decisions. You're kind of deleting the evidence here. Very guilty instantly, and also trying to silence your own daughter, you know, when she's talking about how she felt and her experiences. That doesn't really bode well for people's opinion on you.
So let's start, because I am sick of talking about this over and over again. I have a script in hand, so I don't miss anything, as you can tell, but just know that everything that I say is all my words. Here's the rundown. My mom and I have always had a rocky relationship, and it just got worse and worse as the years went on. In 2016, I finally had permission to make a YouTube channel called Jessalyn Grace. I posted consistently thanks to the help of my mom and reached 1.5 million subscribers in 2018, which is when I hit my peak. In doing YouTube, I had to deal with years of verbal abuse and sometimes physical abuse whenever I would make a video. My mom controlled what I posted and what I would say on camera. Everything had to be perfect and fake. If I misspoke, said the wrong line, or made the wrong face, she would scream and shout at me. And I was 11 getting called a fucking bitch because I wasn't able to say things correctly on camera after being fed lines of words 2 minutes before the camera would roll.
This actually makes me so sad, like genuinely, like not even sad, like angry, that parents are doing this, and we're seeing it time and time again, and nothing seems to be getting done about it. I know this was in the past when YouTube first started and people probably didn't realize that this was going on, but have we learned nothing from this happening within Hollywood? Like, when you watch a video of a child YouTuber, surely you should know that it isn't the actual child that is saying these things and someone is orchestrating it behind the camera. And it's so disturbing. Like, whenever I see content, and I say this all the time on this channel, whenever children are the main source of the content, I hate okay, even if they look like they're having fun, because they're not. Even if they look like they're having fun, because they're working. That's what they're doing. They're the breadwinners of the family, like Jessalyn Grace was. And that's why the parents get so angry at them when they don't do it a certain way, because they know that everything resides on them making this video. And you shouldn't have the pressure of that as a child. Like, imagine being 10 years old and you're the breadwinner for your family. That shouldn't be a thing. That's too much pressure for a child. And the mother also can't kind of hide behind the fact of, oh, well, she wanted to start it, because I doubt that she wanted to make YouTube videos whilst getting called a fucking bitch. I don't even think I would like that right now. You know, if I was recording these videos and someone was just keep calling us a bitch, I'd be like, you know what, mate? This isn't enjoyable anymore. I think I'm gonna bow out.
But it didn't matter, because my mom wanted the money. We needed the money. And at the time, I wanted to help my family out as much as possible. In high school, I was extremely burnt out, and my mom became more hands-off when I became extremely unmotivated and hated making videos. As a kid, you don't really think that what your parents do is ill-intended, and to this day, I know for a fact that my mom truly wanted me to succeed. She just went about it the wrong way. And I didn't realize that there were two forms of abuse happening. I honestly had no concept of the money I was earning, how much things I showed on camera costs, and the random designer goods that would appear in the closet. I also didn't know that only a fraction of it was going towards my savings, my college fund. It never occurred to me that years of work weren't being saved for me, besides the 15% that I'd only get from professional shoots, and even then, that was rare. Since being in college, fully supporting myself, it feels so discouraging to know that no one thought or advocated to set me up for better financial standing, especially knowing that I wanted to go to a 4-year university.
I actually feel so bad for her, bless her. You know, like, she's went through all of this as a kid. I don't want to say she's got nothing to show for it, but it hasn't really had any positive impact on her future. You know, if you're putting all of that work in as a child, you would hope that it would set you up a little bit for, you know, when you get older, so you can kind of have a lot more options, you know, and it's not as risky picking an option because you're doing stuff because you want to do it, because you know you've got the financial backing to do so. You should have that right if you are a child star and you were the breadwinner for your family for the past 6 or 7 years. You deserve the right to be able to do that, in my opinion, and have that decision to do what you want when you can.
And the fact that my mom was behind the wipes at both of my channels, knowing that they were my only sources of income, is insane. I am a self-supporting college student receiving no financial help from someone who had me as their sole provider for years. My mom's a spender. I'm sure most of my income went into her extensive handbag collection, as you can see here.
Oh my god. Sorry, like, how could you have the audacity to only post about, like, expensive bags when it's your daughter making all of this money? Like, she's posting as if, like, she's the one who's making all of this money and she's, like, really, you know, kind of, like, independent, kind of, you know, doesn't need anybody else. She can buy whatever she wants when she wants because of her work. When in reality, it's your 9-year-old daughter, love. How can someone flex like this when it's their daughter doing all of the work?
So much money on handbags, clothes, furniture, but when it came to setting me up for financial success, we were suddenly not doing so well, or didn't have enough money. If I remember correctly, we had more than enough for your classic flaps, your brooches, your jewelry. And what about the close to 80 grand wedding you chose to throw while having an affair?
Jessa, can't lie, I'm ride or dying for you, love. This is incredible. Just dropping bomb after bomb. Oh! How about that 80 grand wedding that you spent, you know, of my money when you were cheating? Jessa, me and the donuts will go to war for your love.
80 grand wedding you chose to throw while having an affair. She left my father in 2021. Was cheating on him with her high school classmate, who was also my stepdad, and I knew about this affair before my parents decided to drop thousands and thousands of my earnings on a grand wedding. My stepdad was invited to and showed up to it while being in a relationship with my mom. And I wasn't going to blast this on the internet, but Mom, you did take away my only sources of income twice.
To be fair, I feel like that's a fair exchange, you know, to reveal this on the internet. Mom, you did take away my only source of income twice, so I feel like it's fair that I exposed that you invited the person you were cheating with to your own wedding. You know what the saddest thing is, though, is that some people can't have children. No matter how much they want to have children, they can't have it. Yeah, people like this can have children and just disregard them and just kind of, like, not think about their feelings, not even treat them like people. And it's really interesting that Jessalyn, despite having, like, a really, you know, kind of messed up childhood, has become such a level-headed person. And I definitely do think you can go one of two ways. You can obviously go off the rails, or you can become a really empathetic and, you know, just very observant person and very aware of your feelings and what they mean. Very clearly, Jessalyn has kind of went that way, which is great to see. This video is, like, so level-headed and not emotional at all. She praises her mum for saying her mum wanted the best for her, but she went around it the wrong way, while still criticizing her. I really like the tone of this entire video.
What kind of mom has such disregard and hatred for a daughter who has only given her respect that she probably doesn't deserve? A daughter who took care of and loved your other children, and spent years making content that you controlled and signed contracts that you decided, only to save little to nothing when I turned 18. And yet you still have the audacity to say that I'm being brainwashed, I'm being fed lies, that I'm lying. So here's how the rest of the video is going to go, along with some screenshots and other receipts. You should have left me alone, left my content alone, and I wouldn't have to resort to this.
I've got goosebumps. I've got goosebumps. Come on, love! I've never, like, you know, been so passionate about supporting someone that I don't know in me life. I'm like, so like, go on, love, drag her! She's just being so strong here. Like, bearing in mind, put yourself in her shoes, how difficult this must be. Like, to have gone through all of this and then to make this video, I can't imagine how this poor lass is feeling right now. I say poor lass. She's not even a poor lass because she's dead strong.
Now remember, you were always such a big believer in karma. To make things sweet and simple, my mom and I argued literally about everything. Nothing I said or did would make her feel better. In fact, everything I did irked her. For example, Mom, when I was bedridden for 2 weeks, I couldn't stand up without fainting. I had a persistent fever, I couldn't eat on my own, and I couldn't function and get out of bed. You were angry at me the whole time, and I thought it was because I was sick.
So as you can see here, you know, what she's talking about there is that our mother is just not empathetic, you know, not protective, not caring of her at all, and she's also put the receipts in as well to kind of prove it. And even some of the language she's using in this is like saying, have more common sense, Jessa. The last person you should ever ask is Abby. You need to come straight to me. Is very manipulative, you know, and kind of saying to her child that she can't get kind of, you know, any opinion from anybody else, only her mother's opinion matters. Again, another form of like controlling her, which she did from a very young age. Even saying you really have no conscience at all, like bearing in mind what the mother did to her for so many years.
And able to take care of my siblings. I thought maybe you were just mad at me for being sick in general, and being sick was just a burden to you. And turns out you were mad at this Instagram post. I wrote this caption, and I want you guys to read it and see if you can find anything wrong with it.
Okay. Hi, I am Jessalyn Grace, a content creator, singer, actress, full-time student, and most importantly, Miss Lao San Diego 2024. It is truly an honor to be crowned Miss Lao San Diego, and being part of last year's pageant was such a meaningful experience for me. I got to learn so much about our culture and the importance of this annual pageant to Lao New Year. Our heritage is something we should embrace and believe it is crucial for youth to be active in the community in order to preserve traditions like this pageant. I hope girls who want to gain and build valuable life skills, who want to be more involved in the community, will take this opportunity to do so. Wait, how can you be angry at her for this? Like, she didn't say anything. Like, literally anything negative here about the mother at all.
The thing wrong with this caption is that I didn't thank my mom. I didn't mention her in this caption, where the director or the person making this post asked me for my experience on competing. That is why I was sick for so long.
Wait, just because she didn't say, oh, and by the way, thanks, ma'am, for bringing me in the world, obviously wouldn't have been able to be here without that. What a knob.
And my mom refused to help me because of this Instagram post. This was obviously a pattern. My mom wanted recognition and would blow up if she didn't receive it. Same thing if I had a problem that involved her, it would always be me who wound up apologizing because I wasn't regarding her feelings. Well, even months after moving out, when I made my previous video that got taken down, when I made it, all I was thinking was how to say the right things regarding her feelings.
And this is a very common thing that people who, you know, go through this kind of thing with a parent or a family member in general, or even like a toxic friend, to be fair, the pattern of behaviour and manipulation that Jessa's mother was putting onto her is kind of made to manipulate Jessa into thinking that she needs her mother. Like, making her mother a lot more important than what she actually is. Obviously, you know, it's Jessa's mother. She's going to love her because it's her mother. But it's almost like she was making Jessa believe that she can't survive without her, which makes Jessa think, like, in every decision I make, I have to make sure that my mom is okay because I can't survive without her, because that's how she's been manipulated. And that's exactly what she says, you know, like every single decision she makes. Even making a video talking about how her mom exploited her, she was still thinking about her mom's feelings in it because she's been conditioned to do so, and probably because she's a nice person as well. But this is something that I think is going to happen more and more as we see more of of these like YouTube child stars become older and actually realize what they've been put through. As many of the donuts will know, we made a video on Piper Raquel, who went through a very similar thing to Jessalyn and what Jessalyn is describing. However, Piper has went down the other route and is still kind of stuck in that manipulation from her mother. And it's so nice to see one of these child stars actually break free of that and realize how messed up it was, the stuff they were made to do.
Mom, you can still paint yourself as someone who gets stepped on by her children, and there would be nothing I can do or say to prevent that. In fact, whenever we would argue, it would lead to me being grounded, sometimes for months at a time. The only way I could get out of my punishment was if I showed my respect to her by posting YouTube videos.
Again, just blackmailing her. There, that's just pure blackmail. Okay, fine, you're arguing with us. You're grounded. Unless you're supposed to get ready with me. Just saying. Or a makeup haul. Then you can go and play out. Alright, love, just saying. Your call, love!
Some of the videos you guys might have watched from my old channel weren't out of free will, but to get me out of a punishment. Summer after senior year, I was getting ready to go to UC Berkeley. I had graduated from high school and had a lot of things to look forward to. My mom did not want me to go to college so far away. In fact, during the application process, she repeatedly expressed her belief that I wouldn't get into a good college, that I would be struggling in college in terms of finances, and that I should just stay in Fresno or go to Fresno State or community college and become a nurse, something that makes money. In fact, during the application process, I had her write me a letter addressed to my counselor so that she could write me a letter of recommendation. My mom ultimately told me that she had nothing to write because she didn't know what good qualities I had.
How about that, you know, I've literally kept our entire family alive since I was the age of 9 and paid for all of our bills. I feel like that's a fairly good quality. You know, I feel like I'm pretty useful, or have proven to be useful in the past at least. I just keep thinking about this from Jessa's kind of, you know, perspective. Like, this would obviously just make you have so low self-esteem. You know, the person that you've tried to impress your entire life, the person that has controlled your entire life, and you thought they were like your role model. You know, you make these videos because you want them to be happy. Then when you get older, they tell you that you have no good qualities and that, you know, you're basically just useless. That would just be your whole world crashing down, especially when nobody else understands, because who the hell can you talk to about being in this situation? Not many people have ever been in this situation, being a child star on YouTube and going through all of this. I can't imagine how lonely she would have felt.
This was before I got into Berkeley, by the way. I wanted to visit the campus because I had just sent in my UC applications. And she told me no, because I probably wouldn't get into a school like UC Berkeley anyways. So yeah, she wasn't happy when I got in. She didn't want me to leave, and she expressed that with control. My curfew was now 8 p.m. I could barely go out. I had to ask weeks in advance if I could hang out with friends, and if it was too last minute, the answer would be no. Even though I had already graduated high school and I was going to Berkeley in the fall, I had my license and everything, but I was still being treated like a middle schooler. And at this point, we were still arguing every day. Heated arguments, too. Then came the incident that caused me to move out. My mom's curling iron was missing one day. She assumed that either me or my sister lost it, and so we spent all day looking for it while my parents were out on a day trip. I still couldn't find the iron, so when my mom comes back, she's absolutely livid.
Your mom's iron is lost, and she cares about it so much that she went on a day out and left you and your sister in the house to find it. Why doesn't she find it? Again, just another controlling technique. Like, why are you going on a day out and not bringing your daughters with you? I feel like that should be a given, or at least invite them out on the day with you.
She cussed me out, cussed my sister out, again, livid over this iron. Then she finds it in my sister's closet, broken. My sister hid it after she broke it and then lied about knowing where it was. It's stupid, yes, but my sister was also in middle school at the time.
That is a valid point. Like, you know, your sister was young then, but I don't feel like that is the main reason why she done that. You know, if a child accidentally breaks an iron and their first thought is to hide it in their cupboard where only they will know where it is, that's because they're petrified of their parents' reaction. That's because they're intimidated by their parents. That's not because they're young. That's because they don't want their parents to find out, because they know that something bad's gonna happen to them. If it was purely an accident, like, which breaking an iron probably is, because that's not a fun game to do. Oh yeah, let's play out and break the iron. Did that every day. If it's by accident, then, you know, obviously your parents are going to be annoyed, but they're going to realize that, you know, it wasn't actually your fault. You shouldn't be scared to do this, you know, because even what happens in the future, if you have something that you're a little bit kind of scared to tell people, you're not going to go to this parent about it, because you won't even go to them when you know, you've done something by accident. You're not going to feel like you can open up to this person because they're just so intimidating.
I was exhausted at this point. I'd spent all day taking care of my 2 siblings. It was around 1 or 2 a.m., so I went to my room. And then my mom yells at me to come out because she needed to have a talk with the family, aka talk to only me. She started yelling about how I had no respect, and I was fed up. and I was really tired, so I argued back. And when I did, she proceeded to slap me, shove me, and scream. I told her she couldn't hit me anymore because I'm 18. Then she grabbed this wooden mallet, as seen in the photo, and tried swinging at me with it. Mind you, I didn't even break this frickin' iron. After that, she took my laptop, my phone.
I mean, love, even if you did, like, that's still not an excuse for her to be doing that. Again, just bringing it back to, you know, her mother deleting all of her videos that they posted even when she was younger. I find it really, really cowardly. The fact that, you know, people can't go back and look at these videos and kind of just assess, like, the little bit where Jessalyn probably wasn't looking the happiest and she was actually doing all of this behind the scenes to intimidate her. Her mother is an absolute coward. And you know on this channel, Donuts, I don't often, like, name call or anything. In this situation, this is one of the worst people. Like, how can you intimidate a child, never mind your own child, like this, when they've done nothing wrong as well? Even if they'd done something wrong, it would be out of order. But she literally was looking after your other children all day, and you decided to threaten her with a wooden mallet. Are you kidding?
Everything and anything I could use to contact someone with, so I wouldn't tell anybody what happened. And when I got my devices back, I told my now god brother Joseph what happened, and I left shortly after that. I didn't tell them I was leaving, I just left, which is why she's blown up these last few months, and has done anything in her power to make my life harder. Honestly, it's just really annoying to deal with. And I don't want to talk about this anymore, and I try to avoid the topic as much as possible, but it does seem like she wants a reaction out of me, so Mom, here is me reacting. Also, here are the messages she sent me the morning she found out I left.
You did this without talking to me and just left. This is not something to play around with. This is unacceptable, Jessa. The cap fell off my tooth and I need to go to the dentist to have them redo it. You picked a really good time to run away. Oh, God forbid the cap of your tooth fell out, love. God forbid. I'll tell you what, love, right? I'll move everything back. All of the abuse, I'll just forget about it because of the cap of your tooth. But this is a very common theme with people that do, you know, unfortunately abuse people, is when they feel like they're vulnerable, they will try to make the other person feel sorry for them and try and kind of humanize themselves to kind of be kind of fragile, to make the person want to care for them rather than, you know, their usual tactics of just intimidating them. That's very clearly what is going on here. Come back right now and stay with your brother. I need to go to the dentist. Does your dad know about this? By you making this decision to go and find every excuse or use an excuse to leave just because you have a little bit of money in the account, why would this be about money? Like, this woman, everything is just about money with her. Like, that's the one thing that she's concerned about, is that, you know, Jessalyn is going to leave with a little bit of her own money.
After I made the video that got taken down, she made this written response public on her Facebook.
I am aware of what's been circulating on social media concerning my daughter Jessalyn. As you may have all seen, Jessa has confirmed that she chose to run away from home as soon as she had turned 18. Already, alarm bells would be going off if I had Kellyanne as a friend on Facebook. I'd be like, well, why she done that, Kelly? Right? There must be a reason. People don't just do that. I remained silent with no response to the first video she put on social media. Regardless of the speculation, the criticism, public scrutiny, I still chose to remain silent on behalf of my daughter, and she is a public figure. As her mum, I felt that I had a duty to protect my child and continue to uphold her image, as I have always done so. It is a private family matter that should not have been made public. Recently, I was informed that she has released a second video and has made me the villain in her story. Again, no empathy towards, you know, her daughter whatsoever in this. Not seeing it from her perspective, only from, you know, her own perspective. I am beyond distraught and still in disbelief. I've been dealing with a great amount of emotional distress for the past 7 months, grieving for my child who is disconnected from me, as every mother would want for our children is to be safe, happy, healthy, and to succeed in life. And again, very manipulative, kind of like making out as if she's just a mother here, and, you know, her child is doing this, you know, to her for no reason, and she's raised her child, and it's almost like her child now just wants nothing to do with her. Very manipulative, considering what we've heard from Jessalyn. Like, why would Jessalyn lie about this? She's got receipts, she's got everything. There's no need for her to lie. She gets nothing out of lying.
And after reading it, I genuinely laughed. I laughed because here she was writing this as a concerned, loving mother, writing this as if I went rogue completely out of nowhere. And it's just, I don't know. If you really meant all of it, why did you take down every single post about me? Why did you take down the post of me in front of a Beamer that you bought with my earnings and pretend that you got it for me? You literally wrote on the caption, because she deserves it. And yet I was never allowed to drive. I had to ask friends and classmates for rides back home from school.
Bro, that is like next level fakery. Sorry, you buy a BMW with the money that your daughter has earned for you, and you post it to Facebook as if you've bought it for your daughter. Are you insane? Like, how could you even live with yourself? How can you sleep at night knowing that you do that? Yeah, I've treated the daughter. What? Didn't she Didn't she work for it for the last 10 years? Yeah, but, you know, just forget about that. She wouldn't have been able to work unless she came out of there. Do you know what I mean? So, realistically, I did this.
This isn't me accusing you of abuse. This is me telling the truth about the abuse. You exploited me and I let it happen. And I didn't realize it until I got older because I was your child. I am your child. And as a mom, you had a responsibility you couldn't fulfill. And that's the clarity that I needed. So I'm sorry to you guys for witnessing this whole mess. I can't recover the old videos, unfortunately, but new content will come out once I get my bearings straight. But for now, here is a really summarized version of the old video that I posted, along with some information that I decided to leave out. But anyways, thank you all for listening, and I'll see you guys later.
Now, if Jessalyn ends up watching this video, you know, I really hope that she knows that not many people get to this point after, you know, suffering at the hands of something like this. Not many people get to the point of realization, or even the, I guess, like the confidence and the self-assurance to make a video like this. Everything she said was very, very on point. Nothing was like emotional. Like, obviously it was emotional, but she was thinking logically about the entire thing. I even think that she considered her mother's feelings a lot more than a lot of other people would have if they were making this video. And I think she should be really proud of herself that she's became a really nice person just by going through all of this. Like, this is like such an achievement to get to this point. And I just hope she knows that. Now, after watching this, it again kind of brings up all of the things that I've mentioned in the past about, you know, child star YouTube channels, and how there definitely needs to be more laws brought in about this. One of the most concerning things is, you know, with child labor laws within Hollywood, there is a strict hour thing that they can't work more than, you know, the required time that they're allowed to be on set for. However, with YouTube, you don't really have that because, you know, like someone like Jessalyn is filming in her house, in her bedroom with her mother. Like, nobody is observing that. There is no like HR team. The HR team is the mother, and the mother is the person that isn't letting her stop working. And this is why I think it's so concerning as we see more and more kind of family channels where the children are front and center of these channels, the main kind of, you know, breadwinners of the channel realistically. And I'm just hoping that very soon a law does come in place that stops this and prohibits this from happening. Like I've said before, I don't have an issue with family channels when a family is vlogging themselves and the kids are in the video, but the main aspect of the video isn't the children. They're there because, you know, they're the kids of the family. But when it's only the kids on camera and the kids are the main performance point of the video and your views drop when the kids aren't in the thumbnail or in the video, that's where I have a huge issue with it, because you are no longer in control of the success of your channel. Who is in control is the children. Sorry if I'm like getting really kind of like agitated by this, donuts. I feel like I've been a lot more kind of like angry in this video, but it's just because I really do care about this, and it frustrates us the more times I'm seeing this. I feel like I've covered this situation time and time again on this channel and nothing seems to be getting done about it, and it's so frustrating. I don't even know how you go about doing it. That's why I keep covering these videos, to try and just kind of help give any awareness that you can to it. I also think there has to be a law in place where, you know, the parents aren't allowed to extract all of the money. You know, surely there has to be a percentage that, or a high percentage I'm talking about, that does go into some sort of ISA in the UK, or like a college fund where it can only be accessed when that child is 18 or 21 and they need that money for something when they're, you know, old enough to decide what they want to do with it, like buy a car or a house or go to university, whatever it may be. But as long as it's in their hands when they're able to access it, that's all I would care about. Interestingly, I actually found the mother of Jessalyn's YouTube account, and she was actually making her own YouTube videos in the background when Jessalyn was posting her content. It's kind of like DIY videos and kind of haul videos herself, but she's trying to kind of make this about her, like her photos on it, it's got her name. She's riding off the back of the success of her daughter, so she's using her daughter as kind of a springboard to try and launch her own career, and that shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't be using your daughter as the person who's going to make you successful. You go for it yourself, and then if you fail, it's on you. You shouldn't be using your daughter for this. It's not fair. And yeah, it's just so sad, but hopefully, you know, you have enjoyed my coverage of this, donuts, and we can kind of spread awareness about this happening. Like, one thing if you take from this video, if you ever do watch a family channel, just think, you know, it's fine to watch that, but just think, who is the main source of this content? Who am I actually watching here? Are the children the only people on camera here? Are they the ones getting overworked? Or are they just supplementary to the video that the parents are making? Just keep that in mind when you're watching, just so we can kind of stop this from happening in the future. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed this, donuts. If you do want to watch my video on the child influencer that I talked about who had a massive party and it went absolutely viral for all the wrong reasons, click this video here. I'll see you over there. Bye bye.
Cam Kirkham, baby.